Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Common Man Reacts. And today I'm going to be reacting to the controversy that the LSU women's basketball team has stirred up over the past few days. Now, obviously, this comes off of the loss that they had to Iowa in the Elite Eight. LSU was the reigning women's basketball champions from last season. So the matchup against the matchup against Iowa on Monday night was a very anticipated one. It was a very good game by all standards. It was one of the most watched. I think probably the most watched. If I have to go back and make sure, but probably the most watched women's college basketball game of all time. The ratings were great. There was a bunch of different storylines that went into this, and obviously Iowa came out on top. I think they were the better team. They shot the ball better, and they had the better player in Caitlin Clark. And I think what LSU and their basketball team, women's basketball team, is doing is taking away from what Caitlin Clark should be getting right now as far as attention goes. They're taking the attention away by doing this. And this was the post-game press conference. Obviously, LSU star player Angel Reese, she did a lot of talking, a lot of taunting all throughout the season, not just in the tournament, but throughout the season. She's done a lot of talking. Several girls on the LSU team have done a lot of talking. They've just been very braggadocious, very arrogant, and I'm fine with that. As a sports fan, as a basketball fan, I'm completely 100% fine with that. The thing that I am not fine with, though, is you coming out and trying to garner sympathy after things don't go your way. That is not the way of a winner. That is not the way of somebody who has a very, very competitive spirit. You have to, if you're going to win with a bunch of arrogance, you have to lose the same way. I'm a firm believer in that. And what the LSU women's basketball team did on Monday night after the game, I thought was very shameful. And it takes a lot of the focus off of what Iowa did. It takes a lot of the focus off of what Caitlin Clark did. She dropped 41 points. She was unstoppable. It takes away from that, and it draws eyes and ears and attention to their pity party. And that's something that I don't like. So I'm going to react to what I hear in this press conference. I've seen a lot of different clips going around social media. I haven't really watched any of it, though, so this is going to be my first time reacting to it. So without further ado, let's get to it.
I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down. And, like...
Okay, so she said a lot there in that 21 seconds. But number one, let me get to it. Death threats of any kind in sports are just ridiculous and stupid. I would never, ever support any player getting death threats, no matter who the player is, no matter what they've done on the court. I think it's just ridiculous. And with social media, with, the online presence, there's more people online now than ever in the history of the internet. So you have those people who are going to do that. Do I think most of them are serious? No, but that kind of puts you on guard as a superstar, right? You never know who doesn't like you just because of who you are. It's not even about anything that you've done, but just because of who you are as a media personality. Death threats are something that should be taken serious, especially if you are a woman in sports. I think that's something that they should take seriously, and I do not condone that in any way, shape, or form. But to get to the second part of what she said there that I thought was very, very interesting. She says that she's been sexualized. Now, I'm going to show you a picture from her Instagram last year in 2023. Now, this picture that you're looking at is her modeling, a bikini for a very prominent women's clothing line. Now, just to give you my full entire take, I have absolutely no issue with this whatsoever. I'm glad that she was able to capitalize off the court and make money using the NIL name, image, and likeness deals to her advantage. I'm glad that she was able to get this. So I just off the bat, I have no issue with this picture whatsoever. The reason why I bring this up is because she says that she has been sexualized, and I believe her. I haven't seen a lot of it online. She's an attractive woman, but I've seen, some stuff where people were talking about her looks and things like that. And, again, right, it's not right, but it happens. But for you to post this picture online, and it's not just that she's in a bikini, but she is grabbing her breast in this picture. Now, outside of breastfeeding, outside of breast exams for women, if you are grabbing your breast in a suggestive manner like this, you are sexualizing yourself. Whether or not you want to acknowledge it, whether or not you want to call it that, whether or not, you actually feel like you are or not, you are sexualizing yourself. Outside of breastfeeding a child, outside of giving yourself a breast exam, if you're a woman taking pictures, grabbing your breasts, you have now sexualized yourself, right? Because it just is what it is. That's how we take it. That is how grown people take it, not just men, but grown men and women. If you do something like that in a suggestive manner, you have now sexualized yourself. So once you do that, once you put out there that you have sexualized yourself, whether or not it's right, other people are going to do it. And I feel like this is a lesson that a lot of women have to learn. If you are going to sexualize yourself, then other people are going to do it, especially when you do it as public as Instagram and you are a public figure. You are somebody who commands a lot of attention. You are somebody who has drawn a lot of eyes and brought a lot of attention to women's basketball. You are going to be sexualized. So if you do this, you are going to be sexualized. People have to understand this. And when you juxtapose this to Caitlin Clark and you follow her on her social medias, she has no pictures like this at all. Caitlin Clark does not sexualize herself. Now, if she got up here and said, I've been sexualized and things like that, you can take that a little bit more seriously because nothing about her profiles, nothing about her online footprint says anything sexual. She is pretty much a basketball player and just a regular white girl that lives in Iowa. She does not sexualize herself. So for Angel Reese to do this, knowing that there is pictures on her Instagram of her sexualizing herself, I think you have to take this with a grain of salt. And this is what I don't like. This is really trying to play the victim card when in turn you are not a victim. If you were so worried about people sexualizing you, you wouldn't do it to yourself. So this is kind of where I part roads here with her and the LSU basketball team. This is something that you're kind of doing to yourself. So if you're doing it to yourself, you have to live with other people doing it to you. But let's continue.
Not be there for them. So I just want them to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day, I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are. Keep waking up every day. Keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
So this is the other issue that I have with Angel Reese. And this is the issue that I have with women's sports. And I happen to like women's sports. I am in the small majority of men to admit that, but I like watching women's sports of all different type of sports. I like watching women's softball. I like watching women's basketball, volleyball, anything. I like watching this. But I think women have to understand, and when they look at their male counterparts, they need to understand when you have talent like Angel Reese, when there is a budding rivalry like Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, when there is, things that hang in the balance, and there's a lot of attention and a lot of eyeballs on you, it is not wise for women to try to take up the villain role. Right, and this is my whole takeaway from this. I think Angel Reese fell in love with this victim role. she knows her perception, right? She is very acutely aware of how she's perceived online. If, she has Twitter, she has Instagram, if she can go and type in her name in any one of those platforms and see how she is being, perceived on there. There's some people she has fans, and then she has other people who are criticizing her for a litany of things, right? And most of it being for her, animated nature on the court. Last year, when they beat Iowa, she, did the John Cena thing all in Caitlin Clark's face. And she kept pointing to her ring finger, saying that they won. They won. She's getting the ring. And they did, right? And again, I have no problem with that. I love sports. I love the personalities of sports. I have no issues with that at all. But I think the thing with women, they need to understand, if you are going to undertake the villain role, you have to be able to live with the criticism when you lose. And I think that's the biggest thing. You can't get on national TV and become a crybaby. Nobody likes that. Nobody respects that. And for the men that watch, we do not respect that at all. Now, I have been a sports fan all of my life. Been a huge Laker fan all of my life, right? I love the Lakers, and they haven't been great over the past 10 years or whatever, right? A championship here, but they haven't been great. It's pretty much been the Warriors who have dominated the past decade for the NBA, right? So when I look at the Warriors team and I look at who they have, and I look at the superstars and I look at the guys that they have, there's one guy that I hate the most, Draymond Green. And I know a lot of people feel me on this. I hate Draymond Green, right? I hate him as a player. I think he's annoying. I think he does the most. But the one thing I have to respect about Draymond Green is he is the villain 24/7. He never gets up on the podium and starts this woe is me crap after they lose. He loses as a villain and he wins as a villain. He does the same thing. He is very, very consistent. He is him 100% of the time. And you can respect that. You don't have to like him, but you can respect that. I've never seen Draymond Green get up there on the podium after a game and start with his pity stuff. He will not do it. He won't do it. He won't cry and say, "Oh, I've had it so bad, and I've get death threats and all this stuff." And I am sure, I put all of the money that I have in the bank right now that Draymond Green has received numerous, probably thousands of death threats in his career. I have never seen him get on the podium and cry about it. He continues to be himself. He has fully accepted the villain role that he's in. Fully 100% accepted the villain role that he's in. So when you accept the villain role that you're in, when you do the histrionics on the court, when you taunt, when you do things like that, you have to accept that villain role. And that's going to follow you. Whether or not you want it to, it's going to follow you if you accept that villain role. If that's going to be who you are on the court, then you have to accept it. When you get your doors blown off, you have to go up there on the podium and you still have to be yourself. You can't cry and talk about how hard it's been and things like that, whatever, blah, 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 because we did not hear that when they beat UCLA to get to the Elite Eight. We didn't hear this. We didn't hear this from them. We seen them dancing and jumping around their locker room and celebrating, and this young lady who was sitting off to Angel Reese's right on the left of the screen, Flau'jae Johnson, I think her name was, after the victory against UCLA, she said that people were hating on her because she is a rapper and a hooper. And now she's up here crying and boo-hooing about them losing and how bad it is and all of this stuff. People do not respect this. And if you want men to support women's leagues, if you are going to do this, women need to be very, very aware of this. If you play into that villain role, people are not going to like you. And it's going to be all the time. And you cannot let your emotions get up there and dictate your press conferences and all of this stuff. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I would have loved if Angel Reese got up there and was defiant as she was when they won. And shook her hand and said, "Yeah, I still got a ring, whatever, this and that." If she was just a complete asshole about it, I would have loved it. I would have loved it. This video would have been me praising her. But you cannot play the victim card when things don't go your way. And I think women need to understand this in sports. If you're going to play this victim role, you got to understand it comes with a lot. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And nobody wants to hear about how hard it is for you because you have accepted this. You could not do that. You can just play your game. You can not taunt, right? You can be emotional and all these things. A lot of players are, but you cannot taunt. You cannot shake your hand in other people's faces. You cannot, put that L on your forehead when you beat a team. You cannot wave bye to other players when they foul out. You cannot do those things. You cannot do those things. But she chose to do them, and she obviously cannot live with the criticism. So she's not cut out for this. And to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of women are cut out for this because the emotions are going to come and engulf you at some point, right? There's only a few guys in the history of sports who are cut out for this. I'm talking about your Dennis Rodmans. I'm talking about your Draymond Greens. I'm talking about these people are not really. I guess you can say that they're not all there in the head, basically, but they like it. They embrace it. It becomes a part of their personality. This cannot just be a part of your personality when you play and when you win. And then your personality when you lose is to cry and boohoo. That's not the way that things work. So that is my opinion, my reaction to this video. If you guys like this content, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. And if there's things that you want me to react to in the future, please do not hesitate. Drop a comment. And yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. Until next time.